Welcome to the Ego versus EQ and You podcast, where we discuss the key aspects of emotional intelligence and ways to apply it in everyday living. Now let's work together to make common sense more common. Hi, I'm Jen Shirkani. Welcome to the show, and I am thrilled today to introduce a co-host with me in studio, Steve Friedlein.
Jen.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Some of you might recall a few episodes ago, we introduced a concept of a versus series where we kind of take two concepts and compare and contrast them together. So I thought we could pick up with that theme.
Good idea.
Good with you?
Yes.
And one of the things I thought we could talk about today that we usually bring up pretty often with clients is intent versus impact.
Yes. It is a regular topic, but I think a topic that needs to be revisited in a number of different ways because it's so relevant and yet so much a part of how we think and how we interact, what we say and how it's perceived.
Yeah, it leads to a lot of misunderstanding if we aren't aware of it.
Yes. And the interesting thing is I'm always conscious of my own intent, but I don't necessarily stop and think about it from the other perspective, that the other person is very well-intentioned, even though I may not receive the message in a positive way sometimes.
Well, you know, I'm a huge Covey fan, so I've got tons of his quotes. But one of the things he says that I love so much is we judge ourselves by our intentions, but we judge others by their behaviors.
Absolutely.
We give ourselves a lot of credit for good intention. Well, I didn't mean to say that or offend this person or...
And I think sometimes if we don't spend enough time thinking about the message that we share, if we don't use some impulse control before we share that message, it may be misinterpreted because we haven't taken the time to think through how that other person might react. And then the challenge becomes we get frustrated with the way they react. Okay? And I didn't want you to feel that way, for example. Well, you know, I shouldn't be questioning how the other person is feeling. I should be questioning how I'm sharing the message that's impacting that feeling.
Yes. Yes. And the way we deliver this is kind of where the EQ piece to me comes in, because if I am reading the other person, how I deliver that message, it might be the same message. I have to deliver to multiple people,
right? But
I'm customizing my approach based on that individual and their style and their communication needs and everything else.
Right. So I think the impact on me, I also need to have impulse control. And if I'm bothered by what's been said, I need to take a little bit of time to process it and think, am I being objective? Or am I simply responding because I've been triggered a little bit by what that person said?
Yeah. Maybe not be so offended all the time, right?
Easy to say.
Assume their good intent and just let it go.
Easy to say, but I think it gets back to I want to be able to react in real time.
Yeah.
I say this all the time, but so oftentimes I think this is what I should have said. This is the impact that I was looking for, but I didn't take the time to think through how my audience was going to react. So
it reminds me of a situation that one of our clients was in, a very tragic situation actually, where they had a major incident at the company that was just terrible, violent, terrible situation. And the CEO at the time decided to do an all-hands call just to get everybody on a Zoom and kind of explain what happened. And
which in and of itself was a good idea.
Right? Great intention.
Yes, exactly.
And he kind of led the meeting and was very stoic and formal. And I think he was trying to be very respectful. But it came across like he was almost robotic and disconnected from the emotion of what had happened. And some of the others on the call that were in the senior team felt like one of us has to jump in here because this isn't landing right the way he was intending for it to land. He was trying to be very respectful, and it did not go well. And finally, one of the other senior leaders jumped on the call and kind of showed a little bit more emotion about the situation to show that they were genuinely upset and concerned about what happened.
Yes. And I think, I immediately question that person's behavior or what they exhibited in that situation. And yet, they may have been trying to control their own emotions.
Yes.
It may also have been a very significant moment to them emotionally,
Yeah.
but not wanting to lose it in front of his audience.
Absolutely.
So that's another possibility. But I think we immediately jump to why isn't that person feeling what I'm feeling?
Right. Or judging,
Yes.
I think, instead of assuming this is a really tough situation
Yeah.
for someone to be in to have to do
Exactly.
this. So
Exactly.
it's usually not intentional,
Right.
right?
Right.
But we still have to kind of own the impact of my behavior regardless of my intention around it.
Well, and kudos to the person that read the room and stood up
Yeah, I know.
and gave a different version of that message
Yeah.
that obviously connected with a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
So it brings to mind, sometimes we can help someone out if their intention is different from the impact that what they said it was. So sometimes I think we just sit and say, "Oh, that wasn't cool," when in fact we could perhaps jump in and make the situation a little different, not only for the person who gave the message, but also to the rest of the room.
Yeah, I think it was probably smart of them to jump in before the meeting ended.
Yes.
So it wasn't like after the fact. Boy, I
Yes.
wish we had done this
Yes.
differently. They
Yes.
tried to kind of save it before it was too late.
Right, right.
But how do you think we can better, if I'm an individual who wants to minimize my negative impact and hopefully get my intent across better, how do we do that?
I think what makes it so difficult is the fact that every audience is going to be a little different. We can't say this is the formula, and if I continue to use this, I'll always have the impact I'm looking for. And I think that's the fluidity of what we encounter when we're sharing a message. And we've said this a multitude of times too. I can share that same message with 3 or 4 different people and get very different reactions. The impact is not going to be consistent.
Yeah.
So I think the other piece of it is to make sure if I'm sharing a message with impact that I give the respondents an opportunity to share back, to perhaps answer some questions that may not have been resolved in their minds. Right? Because I think sometimes if we just share a message and say, done deal,
One
off
way,
we go,
kind of,
the more we give an opportunity for others to speak up in terms of what they're experiencing, and that we have a willingness to listen to what they have to say, the greater chance for us to be effective, not only in that situation, but going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a really good EQ cheat is matching more the emotional intensity of the other person.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So if the other person is very stoic,
right,
then I need to tone down maybe some of my emotion and be more stoic. So I'm matching that intensity. But if they are showing more agitation or even crying upset, my showing I'm upset too.
Right.
I'm with you.
Yes.
That is a good gauge because you're right. Situationally, it is going to be different.
Yes.
But if I'm watching that audience and really reading them correctly, I can better match.
Right. And I also think another challenge is people who have a difficult time expressing their emotions when they share a message also have a difficult time reacting to an emotion. If someone's crying, it's okay, if I don't deal well with sharing my emotions, I'm probably not going to deal well with someone else, in my mind, overreacting to whatever's been said. So again, a case-by-case situation. And I think this is what makes this and all of the other categories that we talk about so challenging, because there's not a one-time, everything fits, It's a continuing process.
It's
yes.
nuanced.
There's always an opportunity to get
better. Do you
better.
think that there's risk in being open about my intent?
I think so.
Is there a risk in that?
There might be risk, but I think there's also a benefit.
Yeah.
Again, a case-by-case situation. A calculated risk, I think, is a good thing. If I ahead of time think, okay, if I share this much information, what's the good that can come of it?
Yeah.
What might be a challenge? How much does that person really need to know? How much of it is my agenda versus what they're interested in hearing?
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
kind of to me where the ego and EQ comes in.
I was waiting for you to go there.
Of course, I'm going to bring that up.
No, but I think it's very valid
Yeah.
because the ego,
Defends my intent,
that's what I'm thinking.
right? It
Yes.
defends my agenda. But EQ recognizes the impact I'm having. EQ says, well, even though this was my intent,
Right.
if it didn't land the way it was supposed to, that's on me,
Yes.
not on the audience.
Yes. Yes. And most importantly, recognize, read, but how do I respond
Yes.
when I get a reaction?
Like
that
real-time
was-
response,
yes,
right? In real
that
time.
was unexpected. Okay, how do I respond? And that's going to go a great length in determining how effective the impact is that willingness to adapt
Yeah.
to an unexpected response. Yes. We've all had that happen.
Yeah.
Where you say something, you're very well intended, and you didn't think there was any drama associated with what you said.
Yeah.
And the reaction is like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And so
Can really catch you by surprise.
yes, and so we can't always prepare for those unexpected moments, but we can give the other person an opportunity to share more about what they're experiencing. And the last thing we want to say is, you shouldn't be feeling that way.
Oh.
Why are you so upset?
Yeah, you want to
That's
guarantee them to get
talk
more
about
upset?
danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
beyond
risk.
that's beyond risk.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Okay. Well, great. I think we got a couple of good
Absolutely.
suggestions in there. And
Absolutely.
Thoughts on,
Well, and thinking about the next time I have a significant message that I want to share.
yeah.
I want to plan ahead as best I can.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Think about who I'm sharing it with.
Yes.
And be prepared if the response is inconsistent with my expectation.
Very good.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for listening and for all your good advice, Steve. It was great to be with you today.
Likewise.
Stay tuned for future episodes. We will continue more on the Versus series as well as other good stuff. So until next time, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us today on the Ego versus EQ and You podcast. If you liked this episode, be sure to follow us or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and please share our show with others. For questions or future topic suggestions, please email us at podcast@jenshirkani.com. Until next time, keep using your EQ and show ego who's boss.